Hello, welcome back. This is Darius from Flex Point. So we will continue in today's session, and what we will be learning today is identity. There's a concept called identity, and I want to show you. It's very important and very interesting. Let me open up our Management Studio, and first of all, explain to you what I mean by identity. Right. Think about a table that has a primary key. I believe you already understand what primary keys are. If you don't understand what primary keys are, then you would have to go back and watch that from our previous sessions. So you already know what primary keys do. They ensure uniqueness on the table. And if you don't have some sort of solution that helps you to check for that uniqueness, or that supports primary keys check for that uniqueness, it might be a little bit difficult for you as an individual to manage your table, and also for SQL Server to help you to manage your table. And what do I mean by that? Let's create a table and demonstrate this problem, right? So let me create this. This was from our previous sessions. Let me delete this. I meant to say, okay, so I'll delete this database too, and I'll use our sample database. We've used that in the past, so that's gone. So I'm gonna switch into the sample DB. Oops, we have a broken connection. Right, okay. So the only way to solve this problem is to close Management Studio completely, in case you're having this kind of problem, and then you start it up again, and then the problem would have gone away. So I'm going to do that now. So I have restarted SSMS. I'm going to connect to the server and bring up a new query, and then paste the query in there. So let me switch into the sample DB database again, and now we have it. Expand the databases node, expand sample DB, and we don't have any table. So I'm going to create this table, student. It's just normal student table, nothing fanciful, no check constraint, no unique constraint, nothing, just columns and data types, right? And I'm just going to insert into this table, and let's select everything. So this is what we have. Now, let's assume that I put this again. You can see that it takes the same column, the same rows, right? If I do this a million times, it will keep inserting the same kind of data. But this is not good. If we had a primary key on this table, it wouldn't allow us to do this. And let's actually see that in action. So I'm going to refresh this and delete this table. And this time around, let's put a primary key on this table. The reason for that is because when you specify your columns, data type comes first before any other thing. So if I hit execute and we insert, you can see that we have that. And then again, if I try to insert, you can see we have a violation of the primary key, which is what I would expect. So this way I have confidence that the database is taking good care of uniqueness on the table. So that's fine. If I now change this to 2, and obviously change some of the values here, let's say his name is Earth Gmail. And if I inserted this, it will obviously go into the database, and you can see that we have this. But the problem with this is I have to keep track of the numbers, you see. So that means, let's say there are 100,000 rows on this table. What do you think will happen? I mean, let's say it goes up to 151. How would you be able to keep track of the last number so that you don't insert a duplicate value when you know that the primary key will throw an error? So what helps us to do that is the identity. And there are two ways to create the identity on our database table. So usually, you know, the two ways will be through the GUI and through T-SQL, right? We've been doing the GUI first. This time around, let's actually start with the T-SQL. So I'll use the T-SQL first, show you how to do it, and then the GUI. So I've deleted the table, and to put identity, all I need to do is just write identity on the column in which I want it to help me manage that. And I would now say 1, 1 close parenthesis. So it doesn't matter which order, this can actually come before primary key, I believe. Yeah. What matter most is the data type coming after the column name. So it doesn't matter. So just specify the things you want. I want primary key on this column, that's fine, it's there. I also want identity on this column, that's fine, it's there. Now the question I'm sure you'll be asking right now is, so what's this 1 and what's this 1? What this 1 means is I want you to start incrementing from 1, and I want you to increment by 1 as well. So I want you to start from 1, and I want you to increment by 1. So this is the base number, and this is the incremental value. So if I did 1 and 3, what this means is if it starts at 1, which is this one here, the next one wouldn't be 2, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4. It will be 4, right? 3 plus 1 is 4, right? Yes. So if you have 4 here, and then it's going to increment again, it will increment by 3. And by then, 4 will now be 7. So it will keep going like that. 1, 1, 4, 7, 10, you know. If I did 1 and 2, what that means, it will start from 1, and the next one will be 3. The next one after 3 will be 6, you know. Will be 5 rather, sorry, I beg your pardon, will be 5, you know. So it's just to demonstrate, to explain it, but we would actually demonstrate. You don't have to calculate it, because that's what identity is there for. Just leave it for the SQL Server engine to do the calculation for you, and you're done. So let me refresh this table now. Okay, it's not been created. So let me create the table. And you know, if I don't click execute, what I'm typing on, what I'm hitting on my keyboard is F5. So you can do the same. So let's change this. As a matter of fact, you don't need to specify person ID anymore. If you have identity defined, you do not need to specify the person ID anymore, because now you are leaving the management to SQL Server engine to do the identity for you. So we have now said we want the base to be 1, and we want to increment by 2. So you see what happens. So if I hit execute and I try to see what's in there, you can see it's 1, no problem. So let's say this the data is changed. I don't want to waste time by changing the values, but let's just assume the data changes, and then we'll insert another one, and you can see that it has incremented it by 3 without even specifying the value here. We will leave it to the SQL Server engine, and it will just keep on adding for us. So that way you can be sure that there will be no duplicate values. You see, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, like that. You see, so that's how to do it. Now let me show you what happens if the incremental value is different. So if it was 1, and mind you, if you don't specify 1 1, if you just said identity, the default is 1 1. Okay, so let's assume I don't actually specify identity and I don't specify the value for identity, I just created it like that. It will still create it, and let's see what happens. So I'm just going to hit this multiple times and execute. You can see that it's gone from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's just incrementing by 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, like that. So that's what identity does. And using the GUI, the T-SQL approach, this is how to do it. Now using the GUI, let's delete the table. Actually, no, I won't delete the table. So we'll use the existing table. I'm just going to show you where it is. So if you right click on the table and then select design, so you would see this come up. Just put your cursor on the first bar on top. When you see this arrow in this shape you're looking at, just drag it, hold on to the mouse and drag it to the top, so that all these things can come up for you. And what you're interested in to see is identity specification. So if you click on the arrow there, you would see this is identity. It says yes, right? So if I wanted to change the value, I could just click on the down arrow right there and select no. You see, so it changes it away. So if I wanted to enable identity, I would say yes, and you can see that the default is 1 increment, and the seed. So what I was calling base the other time is actually seed, but you can call it base, so it means the same thing. So the seed is 1 and the increment is 1 as well. That's the default, but you can actually change it. You can actually make the seed to be something else. The seed can be 50 and the increment can be 1, can be 5, can be anything you want. So what that means is if you make the seed 50 and you increment by 5, that means what you would have is the first one will be 50, 55, 60, 65, and it will keep going on and on and on like that. All right, so this is what identity does, and there isn't any more to it. If you have any questions whatsoever, do not hesitate to ask questions. You can put comment down the on the website, on our website, on our page, or Facebook, email. There are so many ways you can contact us if you have any doubts or any explanation that you need for anything. That's why you're taking this course. We don't want you to just watch the videos. We want you to also watch the video. If you have any questions, you can come back to us and ask questions, and we can clarify any doubt whatsoever that you need. Right, so I'll see you in the next video, and we'll be talking about some more interesting things in SQL. See you then.